Welcome everybody back to another episode of Sip and Share for the Origin Woman Network. And today I have great pleasure of talking to Fiona Sexton, personal brand photographer. I'm so thrilled she's here. She's got so much to unpack in her very short little business journey and super proud of every step she's taken. Fiona, welcome and thanks for coming to our show.
Thank you very much for having me, Kat.
So look, you started out in business a mere few years ago, 2020, was it?
Yeah, 2021-ish.
Yeah, amazing. And so we've been tracking your journey, and I think you've been part of the Origin Woman Network from probably pretty well the beginning of it, and how committed you are to the little steps that it takes to get really big gains at the end of the process. And I know that through a business journey, it is so easy to fall out of love or commitment with those little steps. So impressive is watching you just do one little dial turn, one little 1%er, get it right, move on to the next thing. You're actually very methodical. Is that like something that was a bit of a genius zone for you from the beginning of all time, or is it not?
No. No, I think with anything with business with me, as you said, I was very green. So what you don't know, you don't know. And you just, try something. And I think it's a lot that I can't just not do too many things at once. If I'm overloaded, I'm like, I can't just do all those things. So I'm like, all right, so if I just do this bit and I'll try and understand that, I do this bit, then I realize there's something else I don't understand. So I'll move on to that bit. So I suppose it was just organic that I just couldn't take on all the things I didn't know. So I just sort of had to go bit by bit. And then the more do, then the more you realize you don't know. And then that just expands even more. So it was probably naivety, to be honest, at the beginning. They're those little steps. And then I'm like, oh, that led me in this trajectory. Oh, I'll learn about that.
Yeah.
So I just sort of probably flowed like that. And then I got exposed to more things that I realized I needed to learn more about as I went.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. Like that whole business ecosystem can be so overwhelming to begin with. And so I love that you found your own unique path through that by trying little different things at different times. What actually got you into photography in the first place? What's the origin story of this
The
business?
origin story of like photography as general was probably, an interest from way back and just traveling and stuff like that. I lived overseas. I always had a camera. This is, back in the old days before phones. In terms of the more aesthetic sort of stuff of photography, I probably got my first big camera 20 years ago or something. And I like taking landscape. So I love that. That was my like meditative sort of space, going out taking photos of. But then it was about figuring out I want to learn more about photography. And that's when I finally just sort of decided I've been looking at doing various courses, mum and busy and working, and how am I going to fit this in my life? And then there was like an online diploma that I decided to bite the bullet in February 2020 going, this is my year. And then I ended up homeschooling 3 kids and getting a diploma during COVID. But I knew I wanted to do it as something potentially as a profession. So it was about pivoting from allied health and then being physio and doing this course. And it's just got my brain just exploded with learning. Yeah, okay, I want to sort of see where this takes me. And again, that started the very beginning of business journey, being exposed to that, trying lots of new things. And when I came out, I didn't know that I was going to be where I am now. But, did I want to do family, or was it branding, or was it food, or was it architecture? I don't know. So it was trying all these things and then figuring out where it all sort of came together.
That was 2020. And so you tried some things for a period of time, maybe up until about 2022. Is that right?
Yeah, the course was sort of 2020, 2021. So 2022 was really my first year out. I did some branding stuff, some families, and a few sort of product things. And I was sort of doing the branding. And again, it was funny, like when we sort of start talking about the allied health sort of journey, some of the people that I ended up doing early shoots with was a friend that happened to have a yoga studio. And then I was just sort of going, oh yeah, that was fun. I really liked doing that. I'm like, oh, what if I just like make some brochures and like walk around like to the clinics in my area? Scared doing it now than I did back then. And I just walked in and went, oh, hi, I'm Fiona. I'm a brand photographer. And would you like some photos? And it just seemed so silly. But again, there was this one clinic that was about a kilometre from my house. It was an osteo clinic. And I walked in. The day I walked in, they just sort of said, we were just talking about that.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God, it was like serendipitous. So they're like, were they talking about getting some photos done. And then a photographer walks in and she
Amazing.
used to be a physio and we're an osteo clinic and da da da. And I'm like, wow, that was cool. And so now in hindsight, I look back and it was almost like that was a point of difference, that someone gave me that first opportunity and that chance, and then I did it. So yeah, I sort of kept doing that. I had these spreadsheets and I spent a lot of time on Googling things, just yeah, trying to get things that people I'm going to contact and sending out a bunch of letters and all this sort of stuff that was real slow. It's that real beginning journey of just doing the door to door and sending out things. And
you were doing that little bit of allied health, and we'll get to how you got into allied
yeah,
health. Let's save that part of the journey. So you were doing a little bit of allied health here, a little bit of headshots there, a little bit of something else there.
yeah.
And then there was sort of a bit of a pivot point for you in your business where you really claimed the space. Do you want to talk us through what kind of happened? Because you did have this background as a physio, but here you are with this background as a physio, and then there was a moment. So what happened, and what were some of your objections to niching?
Yeah, I suppose like that point I just talked about was a starting point then to realize, oh, this makes sense. So then I was reaching out to these like other allied health businesses, but I was still doing some general branding stuff on the side. And I think it was about, again, like people always talk about finding your own identity and all that sort of stuff. And you're trying to be like other people. And I'm seeing these other brand photographers thinking, oh, I want to do that. I love their look. And I'm something similar. But then I'm like, oh, but how do they hire these houses and these studios? And I don't have the experience. I don't have the money yet to do that sort of stuff. And how would I find the clients and how would I do all that? Like that was a bit scary for me doing that. But again, I was finding I was getting at these other experiences of these sort of allied clinics as well. And it was not till I've done more and more of these over the years that it has sort of started to make sense. But I suppose it was yourself and Mira had quite a pivotal time of giving me confidence was at the retreat through the Origin Women Network a couple of years ago, going, well, you've got all this experience and this is stuff that's something that unique that you can offer. And even then I was sort of getting used to the idea. I was seeing these types of clients, but I wasn't really just owning that space. And even though I was sort of doing it, but then now the more and more I've done it, and I think it's only been honestly the last maybe 9 months, I've really gone, oh, because I'm now getting the feedback from the clients going, oh, it was so good to speak to someone. Like I find if someone books a call, speaks to me, and they're a naturopath, a dietitian, it's not just physios, but it's anyone in that health space.
What's scary about niching? Like in a nutshell, what was going through your mind at the time actually step in and say, I'm an allied health photographer?
Yeah, I suppose it's thinking that you're not going to have enough clients. That could be sort of one thing. Or why do this? Or I'm restricting myself. It's also you're just thinking, oh, but what if I stop just doing headshots or I stop just doing corporate? And it's not saying that I am not doing some of this stuff. Like I do still shoot some events, and if someone contacts me about some corporate stuff, look, I might still do that as well. But it's not the stuff that I'm projecting and putting out there and owning. And then if those people that are contacting me, it's probably through a word of mouth or someone that knows me, or they still like my style or my personality to do that other work. So it is scary, but then clients feeding back to me, the more the niching is actually making sense. It's not less clients, it's more. And particularly for me, I'm now realizing with allied health that the target market is endless. Like there's absolutely unlimited work. They've just got to find me. And that's my job, is to put that out there for them to actually find me, because there's an allied health clinic on every corner. So even though I'm niching in a small demographic or whatever, but the target market is huge.
Massive. Super proud of you in the way that you've owned that, because I have to admit, we know we've got 550 at the time of recording women in the network, and I could probably cast my mind across most of them, and they haven't really claimed a specific niche. Many people talk into more of a psychographic profiling, which is completely acceptable too, but just how much more quickly you can scale with when you do claim a niche. And so it's been 2 years for you. You've joined the bar series and got some help with that. You're about to sign up for another round of the bar to really keep working on getting. Now we're moving into systems, because we can already see how busy you're going to become, right? So maybe you can tell us some of the opportunities that have come up since you chose that niche and are now brave enough to say, I am Australia's only allied health photographer.
Yeah. And even saying that, it was only a couple of months ago, that was something in the bar, and then talking with Kath, and I sort of knew it, and then you sort of Google around, but again, it's that confidence to say it. And once you say it, you go, I'm Australia's only specialist allied health brand photographer. There's other people that take photos of people in this, but is that all they do? Or is that what they're saying? Or do they have my background? Even if anyone else does become it, I'm still the first. But no one's got my exact experience. And, you know, everyone's got their own journey. There'll be some other people that'll do. Middle of last year, I ran a Facebook ad competition for the first time. And that was a big deal for me, actually investing in something I'm like, oh gosh, okay, that's an expense, there's a cost, it's that scary. Is that going to sort of work out? But again, that got me in front of more people. From that opportunity, someone was osteopath sort of business coach. And she just reached out because she was doing a course going, oh, actually, she'd entered the competition, but asked me if I was available to photograph an event that she was running. It was like a Thursday. This was literally for that coming Saturday. It was like 3 days later. I'm like, gosh, if I reply by email, I don't know if I hear. Oh, I'm just going to pick up the phone. And I picked up the phone. She answered, and literally she'd sent the email, and I rang her like 3 minutes later. And she was a bit like, oh, awesome. We spoke for 45 minutes. It was like unreal. From that meeting with this person, I've now done sort of 3 shoots with her. She's now a business coach. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be going back to that same event, getting to present to those people, which is a group of 40 allied health. She'll also be running another, which I can promote to directly. So basically a room of my ideal clients. She'll be doing the same conference thing in October. So I'll be doing that to about another 50 people, which I'll be a sponsor for. But because of that phone call and going to that meeting last year, I met a physio business coach who then a few months ago, like we got along well. I did his headshot. He was impressed, and he's like, you're about to blow up. And I'm like, what? He goes, no one else is doing what you're doing. And he picked that last year. And then he contacted me a few months ago to say, would I be interested in being the photographer for a physio conference for 400 physio clinic owners in Queensland next year? And I'm like, oh my God. So that's now my goal target. That's like February next year. And I'm like, right, okay, now this is where I need to get my together for over the next 6 months, get clear on my messaging, get clear on my service, get clear on my systems, because I'm about to be given the biggest opportunity ever to get directly in front of. And again, he goes, you've got something with like being a physio, talking to physios. You know, as I said, you've got credibility, I suppose, going, okay, so you can come in saying, hi, I'm a branding photographer for physios, and I was a physio, and I'm going to potentially be in front of 400 physios.
So for those listening at home, I just want to really recap here some of these pivotal turning points in Fiona's career journey. So again, not everybody can make a business as big a success as Fiona's made in just 2 short years, really. The turning points, though, or the kind of the key in the lock moments that I've heard here is, number one, getting in touch with your purpose, you know, remembering where you came from, which then defined your niche. And then there was a point where not only did you, I mean, back at that retreat, you sort of said it out loud, yes, I'm going to, you know, start to kind of move in that space. Like, this is something real. Maybe I will start to do it. But then, you know, more recently, actually really claiming that space, rebranding your website in that space, like really claiming that space. Then another turning point so there was the identification of the niche, then there was the actual claiming of the space. But then what you're just talking about there, and not necessarily in sequential order here, but picking up the phone, like actually making sales via a telephone, which is very strange for people these days. But I'm telling you, you know, 9 years ago when I was picking up the phone, I made a hell of a lot more money than I'm making now not picking up the phone, you know. So amazing, getting on, building rapport with somebody. And then, like you said, it led to 3 shoots, 1 shoot with her, 3 shoots with her, now conferences with her, now meeting another person who runs a bigger conference.
And it's just sometimes you look back, and it was that one moment, that picking up their phone, that led to that. And again, that's those little steps that, you know, in hindsight, if that didn't happen, that might not have happened.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't all happen straight away. This is a period over 12 months.
So many people wouldn't actually, you know, you might be sort of looking back and going, oh, it's those little moments. But those little moments are very nameable and very copyable for anybody listening in, you know, niche, claiming space, picking up the telephone.
Now then, if once you've claimed the space, it's easier for me now to think of who I'm talking to, who I'm marketing to, my messaging. So that's the sort of stuff, again, still takes time of figuring it out and how I do it and
Yeah.
method and stuff. But again, if you know who you're talking to, you're not, again, talking to everyone, you're talking to specific people
Yes.
and their problems and that stuff. And then that makes more
And
sense.
then
So
you're moving now into a process systems phase of your business, gearing yourself up to handle 400 inquiries that are going to come your way in
they're
February.
just gonna
Like,
but again, even with that, like I'm with that sort of thing as well next year. Like, so now we're talking that like that's 7 months away. And then I might be meeting people, but they might not be ready yet. And so it's just that first thing. But when they are ready, I'll be the person they'll contact. But that might not be for another July now. I might meet someone in February. They might get then on my email list, get a couple of emails, but they might not send an inquiry till December next year. So again, it's not these things that suddenly go bang, they're all going to come here all at once. But it's again setting that pathway that when they do,
yeah.
I'll be the person that they'll call because
Everyone talks about these overnight successes, but really what they are is
it's not,
moments,
it's not all overnight, but
so we're talking now about processes and systems in your business, getting things set up, setting up evergreen nurture sequences so that you, like you say, when those people come in the top of the funnel at that conference, they're going to have somewhere to sit and, in your sandbox until they're ready to sort of, take action with you. Then you're going to have a group of people that are going to be ready to work with you right now. And you've got the onboarding processes set up for that. So, what I'm seeing here again, niche, claim space, make sales, set up processes and systems based on the fact that you're starting to get known in your space and you are not having troubles getting leads anymore, which is such a huge thing for businesses because so many people just struggle to get leads, and that is not a problem for you, really.
But again, like I think even when we've talked about this and systems and processes, like a year and a half ago, I wasn't ready for that. And as I said, for me, I think I needed to do the bits and pieces. I did my own website. I knew nothing about websites, but it was good for me to go to the process to figure out that stuff. I needed to do all these things, and I needed to actually spend a year and a half, 2 years getting more experience. So I've got all these galleries and stuff, and I can say, oh, when someone asks me, I can say, yes, I've worked with physios, osteos, chiros, naturopaths, dietitians, health coaches, and I've got the evidence. So now I was about building that experience and that confidence. So now I can dump all this stuff into my new website, all shiny, and just sort of say, yep, I can actually and then I felt that I was now at that point of being confident to say, I am Australia's because I've had more years of working with this. So that's all now made more sense and it felt more legitimate for me. And now I'm more confident saying that and moving into that next phase. But I couldn't have done that and got all these systems. For me, I don't think I was mentally ready for that.
And you wouldn't be, even if you did try and set those systems up 2 years ago, what are you systematizing, right? Because back then you were still trying. You were trying things. Now you know what the actual, who you're serving. When you know who you're serving, things become systematizable. When you've got one ideal client, then everything fits in boxes for that ideal client. You don't have.
And now I'm sort of refining offerings for them. The more that I do that, I'm like, okay, well, what do they need and what's the missing pieces? So they're the bits that I'm still working through at the moment, going, okay, these are the sort of 2 packages that I have that are my base ones that feed most of the clients, but there's other little gaps that we can go, well, how can I make this better? How can I serve this type of client group? Or, this group needs this, but not this. And how can I sort of figure that out? And that's the next phase that I'm sort of.
Yeah, you're great at that. You're great at responding to client feedback and to what the market's kind of asking of you. So tell us a couple of ways that people can work with you. Have you got any special offers, anything coming up anytime soon?
Yeah, so for this next term, I suppose with part of the launch of my website and the package that I have. So I have a brand essentials package, which is like a good intro for people. It's a 1-hour shoot that you get 15 images and it's great sort of as a top up, a refresh or a starting sort of package. Or I've got my sort of signature package, which is a brand elevation package. This is the most popular one that people would usually use. It's a half-day shoot, which is about 3 hours, and you get sort of 40 images including in that with some other optional upgrades. But what I would like to offer is anyone that buys my brand elevation package, that signature half-day shoot, will get a free brand essentials package, so a free 1 hour top up within 12 months. So this is really great for people that go, oh, I don't want to get a shoot now. Oh, but what if a staff member leaves or they're about to leave and then I need to get another shoot, or oh, we've got other services. So it means you have your big shoot in 6 to 12 months time. You go, oh, actually we missed on doing this, or something new has happened, or someone's left. You can get that top up and that's all included.
Yeah. And again, see, I love the way that you're thinking about your clients in developing these offers, like always.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People will say, oh, great, I've just had a photo shoot and I've just invested all this money and now someone's left, or now we've hired 3 new staff and now my page looks annoying because these photos are great and these ones are not as great. But if that's already, you know that if I've got this shoot and if something happens, that one's already ready to go, then yeah, that's the offer. So this is for term 3. So if you need to book in a
That
shoot
starts
for
in what?
that's from now.
July. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, we're in July.
Yep.
Yes, July until like the end of September.
Excellent. Awesome. And so tell us finally now, what's your kind of key message to other business owners? What's the key takeaway for you in business?
Just start, have a go, because you'll regret if you just haven't. Like if you've got some deep desire to try something, just try it. It's okay to fail. It's okay for it to show up, turn up. Because, you know, if you look back and reflect on how far you've come and you're like, oh, how funny was that? Or how silly was that? But at least you did it. And that builds confidence. So again, like what's the saying? It's like you don't start with confidence, or action builds confidence, or something like that. So it's like the
And would you have thought 2 years ago that you would be able to make such a bold statement as you're making now with being Australia's only allied health?
right. I do have to pinch myself every now and again, not just on that statement, but on everything. Because of if I was back doing what I was doing, and, you know, if I think of how many people I've met, how many opportunities I've had, different things I've done, even just photographing events or people, it's just bizarre. And I think if I didn't, you know, do that course a couple of years ago and just finally go, nope, it's my time, I'm going to do this. Like my brain has exploded so much in the last 5 years. Opportunities, people I've met, you know, networking stuff, it's actually quite awesome.
How's this helped you personally?
It has given me more purpose as well in myself. Like I feel proud of myself that I've got something to offer, and I'm not, you know, being just a mum and just something for the kids, and set, I think, a good example sort of for my kids as well. Like they're sort of saying, you know, mum's working and mum's doing this, and oh, have you got a photo shoot today, mum? And they sort of know the stuff that I'm doing and saying, hey, look what I've done, you know, in this time when we were, you know, COVID and homeschooling, and now I've got this degree and starting my own business and doing all this stuff. And I sort of know that, look, and I've done it all myself. So everything that has happened is because of something I've done. And you're like, far out. That's actually pretty awesome when you stop and.
It really is, Fee. I'm so proud of you. So proud of everything you've done. You're an absolute shining light in the Origin Woman Network, and inspiring. I know so many other people, even other photographers in the network, really look up to you and the action that you take and the commitment and momentum that you've built in your business. So I just want to say a massive thank you for being a part of the network and for being that shining light for everybody. And we can't wait to see you at the Amplify event, which is on the 7th of August. You are going to be there helping us take some social media headshots for our beautiful participants on that day, so they'll get to have a little taste of your magic. So in the meantime, if you're not already, please follow Fiona on Instagram. Would be the best place.
Insta's, yep, my main. Yep.
So we'll pop in the show notes to your Instagram and follow along, and otherwise we will see you at that event. And thank you so much for your time today.